Welcome back to the channel, Fat Boys. Today we're going to be talking about vigilance and what does it actually mean. Let's get into it. So thank you for joining here today. I'm very excited that you're here. That means you're wanting to take the next steps in order to become a better rider and driver, because this video is not meant for just the rider. This is meant for both people's inside cars and on their motorcycles. So I want to say, if you're new here, go ahead and hit that subscribe button down below. It really helps out the channel. You're going to be learning so much here about anything motorcycle based content and a whole bunch of fun trips. So a little bit about the reason why I'm talking about this, and I'm making a whole video about it. As maybe many of you know, that the reason why you came to this channel in the first place was I ended up capturing a motorcycle accident right in front of me. And I ended up posting that onto Instagram. And I had a lot of people comment on that video, and they ended up talking about vigilance and what do you mean by vigilant and yada, 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 continuing on to that. So I wanted to talk about what does it actually mean to be vigilant and how you can actually use that and how to be it in and of itself. So that way you're able to be a better rider and driver on the road. So let's go onto the bike and start talking about that.
So being vigilant, the definition of vigilant is being aware of one's surroundings. And that is really where it comes from. When you're being vigilant, you're almost overly hyper aware of your surroundings, what's happening around you, in front of you, to the side of you, and even behind you. So it's really important that we talk about that because of the reasons I stated beforehand. And so the way that you stay vigilant during your driving and or riding is that you are constantly doing head checks. Your eyes are never in the same place. You are never locked in on one thing. You're always examining. I'm noticing this car, he's kind of stopping, not really. I'm noticing a whole bunch of different things that are happening right in front of me. I know that this is a green light, but this guy has a yellow flashing light. So I'm being aware of all these things. Even vigilance has to do with it's snowy outside. I know that it's below freezing, so there can be ice on the roads. So I'm looking for anything that looks like ice patterns out right now. I'm trying to be as aware as possible for anything that can be on the ground or a threat to me. And so being vigilant doesn't mean you're just trying to avoid an accident. It just means you're being aware of what is around you. It doesn't mean that you are going to avoid everything, but it means that you're preparing yourself for all of the threats that you can have. And as another example, I'm sitting over here on the far left side of this lane because I have all these cars to my right. It's a nice line, and I know that this lane is moving a little bit faster, so I'm over here just in case any of them decide to shoot on over. And so that's being vigilant. I am knowing and preparing for the worst case scenario in case one of these vehicles decides to creep over just like that, or they decide to just change lanes all of a sudden. It's about being prepared and knowing what your dangers are. Constantly checking my mirror. I notice I have a little Toyota or Subaru over there, and then I also noticed a school bus up there and it's causing a lot of traffic to stop, so I switched lanes, and so now I'm preparing in case one of these guys decides to shoot over. So I am looking as far ahead. I'm being aware of what's on the road, and that's all what vigilance is. You got to really be aware of what's happening around you in every direction. You should pretend like you have eyes on the back of your head and as if you can see everything that's happening behind you as well, because it's not what's just in front of you that can hurt you. So when you're practicing vigilance, it's really just making sure you're never zoning out. It's making sure you're always scanning the road. It's making sure you're always prepared for the worst thing to happen. It's even good just as a car driver, just to practice your vigilance. You're constantly looking, you're constantly thinking, what is this car going to do? And then you try and predict what they're going to do. And then you start to get better at that. You start understanding car body language. You start understanding driver psychology. And so it's really important to practice these things so that way you are the most prepared. So now let's take it on back to the studio.
And so hopefully you learned something from just that short little bit of how to be vigilant and how to even practice it in a car, or even if you are a driver, how to be more vigilant inside of a car. And so now I'm going to answer some of the comments that I have saved here to kind of elaborate on them and to kind of maybe pick a little bit of fun at some of them. And so this person says, always be vigilant, as if it was the car's fault. Bikers need to stop making stupid actions on the road. So 1, always be vigilant. Yes, you always need to be vigilant on the road. You should not be zoning out. And I never once said it was the car's fault. You're kind of jumping to conclusions. I never said it was anyone's fault, actually. All I was showing a section, I said, people need to be vigilant. Draw your own conclusions. If you're thinking that I'm saying that the car is at fault, then you have some stipulations inside of you that you need to resolve. Enough said. And bikers need to stop making stupid actions on the road. Very true. Cars need to stop making stupid actions on the road also. People need to stop making stupid actions on the road. It's not bikers or cars. It's people on the road. People do stupid things. That's the whole point of this. The next person says, LOL, stay vigilant? How about not making a left turn from the right lane? Yes, agreed. I 100% agree. But if they were vigilant, they probably wouldn't have made that turn right into the car from the right-hand lane to do a left-hand turn, because they would have seen the car next to them. Thus, staying vigilant, they wouldn't have made the turn. The next person says, freak you mean be vigilant? Should we predict idiots turning random U-turns into the side of our cars? No, again, I was actually kind of more referring to the motorcyclists about being vigilant, but I would never once said that it was the car driver's fault. It's a hint of being vigilant, as if the motorcyclist saw or was paying maybe a little bit more attention, nothing would have happened. The next person says, be vigilant? The biker freaked up and you say, be vigilant. Clown emoji, clown emoji, clown emoji. Yeah, I do say be vigilant, because if he was more vigilant, he wouldn't have messed up. As you can probably tell, there's maybe a little bit of a theme here. We're just going to keep going with it. The next person says, be vigilant? How about stop being a dumbass and obey traffic laws? Yes, agreed. It would have helped if he did pay maybe a little bit more attention to traffic laws. But at the same time, does everyone always obey traffic laws? Do you never speed? Do you always turn on your blinker whenever you're turning? Do you always come to a complete stop at every single stop sign? Do you always come to a complete stop when it's a red light and then you're making a turn? People are always doing many things, and they're called mistakes for a reason. That's why it's called an accident, because an accident is an accident. They're not doing these things on purpose. He made a mistake. And if he was a little bit more vigilant, if he was a little bit more aware of his surroundings, he would have avoided this. And every so once in a while, I decided to respond to a couple people. So this person then said, it's the motorcyclist's fault. Why are you saying stay vigilant when the motorcyclist literally turned in front of the car? And then I actually decided to respond. If he looked over his shoulder, he wouldn't have done that. Thus, being more vigilant would have led him to not turn into the car. I don't understand what is that hard to understand about being vigilant. If you're more aware of your surroundings, you're not going to make stupid mistakes. And I have about another 15 more screenshots of these things, and they're all about the same thing. And it's a lot of people need to stop making stigmas. People are people. People who ride motorcycles can be both very safe, and people who drive cars can do very stupid things. And another reason why a lot of, I want to say, car drivers really notice more motorcyclists and they feel like more motorcyclists are doing stupid things really does come down to the fact that you notice them only because they're doing something stupid. You most often than not will not notice a motorcyclist or even remember them or even think about them because they are doing what they're supposed to be doing, being safe, abiding the laws of the road, and just minding their own business. But what will stick into your brain is that sore thumb in the crowd. A motorcyclist already a sore thumb in the crowd, and one on top of that, being reckless and driving like a lunatic on the road, that will burn more into your memory, so thus you will remember them. So thus, all of those normal motorcycle riders out there, they leave your mind. But then you have that one person and maybe 3 or 4 of them, but you've seen 100 other motorcyclists. You're then thinking all motorcyclists are dumb riders that do stupid stuff, when that's not the case. Yes, there are people that do that, but I know plenty of people in a car that also do really stupid stuff. So it's not just a vehicle personality. It is a human personality. There are people that do stupid things, not motorcyclists that do stupid things, not car drivers that do stupid things. It is people do stupid things. So I do want to talk about how I did see a lot of comments talking about how, oh, I'm tired of seeing those bumper stickers saying look out for motorcyclists, or even signs and stuff like that. And they ended up going on a complete rant and cursing at motorcyclists. I don't know. People are people. But along with that, it's the hard truth. And this is a really hard truth for both car drivers and motorcyclists. Motorcycle crashes, about 2/3 of them have to do with another vehicle, as in a car, causing the accident. And that is because cars and other vehicles such as that do not notice motorcyclists on the road. We are a smaller fixation. Most drivers are only looking for other cars on the road because that is the 99% of your threats that are out there on the road. You're looking for the greater threat, which you should. All drivers should be looking for the greatest threat. But those little bumper stickers, those little signs are just there to remind you of that 1%, to where it can haunt you for the rest of your life. If you happen to change lanes while you're going down the interstate and you hit someone, you don't want to have to kill them. You don't want to kill someone. It's life-changing. It's something really hard to deal with. A lot of people have PTSD over this. A lot of people have PTSD from being on the motorcycle, being in the car, because a car just decided to change lanes all of a sudden. Don't be that person. Just think for 1 second, double check your blind spots, really examine, don't zone out, pay attention to your surroundings. Be vigilant. And so with that, thank you guys for being here today. Hopefully you learned something. I really just want to have the point to come across of what it means to really be a safe rider and driver. I really want to show how you can improve and what you're able to do as a motorcyclist to help your skills and save your life. So if you liked the video, if you found it informative in any way, make sure you go ahead and smash that like button. And if you're new here, make sure you go ahead and hit that subscribe button and ring that bell notification, and I'll catch y'all in the next one. Peace.